Keenan Allen, LA Chargers, 13, wide receiver. Pro Vizion Sports and Entertainment. Protect your vision. Yeah.
I like the buzz about me.
Appreciate it, my man. I'm trying to get like you right here, though. Trying to get that beer going.
He's been getting
These shoes is full. I still got
he's been getting the Vin Diesel, bro.
I've been getting Vin Diesel everywhere, man. I've been getting that everywhere. Yeah. I'm trying to get in a Fast and Furious movie, bro. So we got a real special guest, fresh off his second consecutive Pro Bowl, Keenan Allen in the house. We're actually in his house right now, but yeah, so Steve trains Keenan throughout the year, every offseason. It was cool to see them work together, put the work in before the season started, and now seeing it pan out to where you're making your second consecutive Pro Bowl. But it's just really cool to see how it's kind of like all panned out. So how's it feel, man? Two-time Pro Bowler, man. How's it feel?
Man, establishing. Obviously, it's coming off the injury.
Right.
Probably the biggest injury I've ever had, ACL. Just being able to do it after that, being durable after that, is definitely big on my part. And it's like when me and Steve say, breaking big rocks with a small hammer. It's just about putting your work in, into your craft, man. And had a lot to do with the off-season work, getting with Steve, going back home, training, and like you said, just busting rocks.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a lot of perseverance. I mean, you tore your ACL, right?
Yes.
And then you came back and answered with a 100-catch season,
Yeah.
1,400 yards. Then you follow that up with another great season. Steve's rocked with you that whole time.
Yeah.
So what's it like working with Steve? Just like what is it about Steve that makes you love working with him?
I think the fact that he played, he understands the game, he understands what I'm talking about, he understands the knowledge, he understands the terminology. So I don't have to teach him and then we talk about it, you know what I'm saying? We already understand what we're talking about. And he can coach me because he, like I said, he played it, so he obviously has the knowledge of the game. So.
When you tear an ACL like that, I mean, a lot of the time you have to go back and you have to work on the little things.
Yeah.
You know, that was probably the lowest part of your career, and now you're at the top of your game right now.
Yeah, no question. Exactly what you said, being at the low. It was times, I think about the first time I went out to Steve after I did my ACL, I felt great. You know what I'm saying? Was looking good, felt good, was smooth. I was like, damn, this shit gonna be easy. The next time I went out there, everything looked bad. You know what I'm saying? I looked terrible. I couldn't move, couldn't come out the break. I'm like, damn, this shit, I ain't gonna be able to do it. You know what I'm saying? So just having to working with Steve, working on the little things, just like you said, working on techniques, making sure you got that. The main thing was just having that focus. You know what I'm saying? Having that confidence, and just getting through it.
I remember one thing he was struggling with was coming off the ACL tear was the knee brace.
Yeah.
Right.
He ain't never ever wore a knee brace ever. So just trying to get used to that and still trying to get him to do the same movements and trust. Yeah. Like, man, my knee's 100%. Doctor said you're good, you can run, playing is hard, and just having that confidence, like, okay, can I still be the same Keenan Allen that I was a year before? Put all that pressure and give him all that two-piece, no biscuit, no red nap, barbecue chicken.
What would you say sets Keenan apart from other athletes that you train?
I would think the mental part of the game. The one thing we always talk about is that he's on the same page as Phil. Like, Phil's been in pretty much the same offense for 14, 15 years. And Keenan knows every detail, every check, every audible. Right. So, sometimes there was a game this year, I think it was against Kansas City, where they just did almost like a silent audible. Keenan was in motion and just said, if he's pressing him, go. And Phil knew exactly what he was talking about because he was supposed to run a little stop or option route, but the DB was sitting. So as in motion, he's running across Phil's face and go, if he sits, I'm going. And sure enough, he just a little stutter, boom, and ran for a go route. And that communication between him and Phil is just something special that you have to have, through repetition.
That was motion left to right side, up the right sideline, right?
Oh, yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
Because one thing I noticed from watching you work out with Steve Armed and Dangerous is that you take no reps off. Every single rep, you're giving full intensity, full focus, full effort, and you're always leading the line no matter who's there working out with you. So where does that like intensity, just to like be so focused on every little rep, come from?
Just taking it as a game rep, taking no rep for granted. When I run it in the game, it's going to be full speed. So when I run it right here, I need to be full speed too, because if I slip right here, I'm probably going to slip in the game. saying? So I want to have it perfect right here so I can have it perfect again. And being first in the line, I just want to show the guys what it's supposed to look like. You know what I'm saying?
Setting the tone.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Crispy over here. So
Yeah.
this is what it's supposed to look like. So, you know what I'm saying, give them a visual.
That was another cool thing this offseason. I mean, you started out training with Steve, but now you have the rest of the wide receiver group out there too. So how did that all happen?
First came with Steve wanting to get with the guys. Bringing it to me, saying that he can help. Seen some things, obviously that could be helped with, and I brought it to the guys, and they was with it. So they came out after they did their training. Once we met up back here before summer camp, fall camp, and we got with Steve and we got it in.
Y'all been balling this season too, so
and they've been doing their thing. So.
Doing the thing for real.
How does that make you feel, Steve? Just seeing how this has all panned out for the Chargers, for Keenan, for the Chargers. I mean, you were training at the whole wide receiver corps.
Well, I mean, man, it makes me feel good. The amount of time I put in, as a coach, the stuff that you don't see. Me sitting at home watching film, watching their tendencies, whether it's good, whether it's bad. So I have to have a plan. Just like Coach Lynn has a plan for them, going into the week, this is what we want to execute, this is what we want to do. I have to be able to do the same thing as far as getting them to become the best wide receivers and running backs and quarterbacks as possible.
Chargers need to get my man on the payroll right here. You know what I'm saying?
For real
He's
though.
doing some big favors for him. You know what I mean?
Come on.
Where does the nickname Slayer come from?
Killing people.
Straight up. That's what it is, though.
Straight up.
That's what it is.
Literally, just man coverage, man. I ain't seen nobody guard me yet. And I actually seen it on Instagram. Somebody was like, he was like a Slayer or something. So I just took it and ran with it.
Right. Because I saw you after a game, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, you told the reporter that we some dogs.
Yeah.
We take what we want.
Right.
Where does that just viciousness come from? Because it is a game, it's a physical game, but like where does that come from?
I think just having that dog inside you.
Yeah.
Came from growing up. I think just being around who you was around, growing up how you grew up, playing how you played growing up. And we ain't taking nothing back then, we ain't gonna take nothing now. So that's how it is.
Do you guys have like a game plan in the off season about how you attack the off season?
Yeah, it takes about a month off, just to get all the little bumps and bruises right, get his body back right. And then we start back at square one, like as if I just met him when we were at Cal, at a I can't even think of the name of it. Contra Costa College. Yep, that's when I first met him, first workout. Just taking it all the way back to there, because his skill set on top of his fundamentals, having a great fundamental base, I believe that's what separates him. So we just come right back to the basics. Stances starts,
right.
Understanding how to get in and out of your cuts, pumping your arms, looking the ball in, tucking it away, getting the yak. Just all fundamentals. It's not like
right.
I have some secret coaching points that I'm giving him. It's just all fundamentals, and that's what Armed and Dangerous is built off of. Yeah,
because you clearly are the best route runner in the league. Now I've seen the releases. I've seen you guys work on the releases together.
Yeah.
Well, how many do you got in the repertoire? Like, so when you come up to the line, you see press coverage, you see him playing off you. Like, how many are running through your head before you decide which one you're gonna do?
It's like 2 or 3 running through my head that never get done.
Really?
My body gonna do what it's gonna do, just because we do it so much. So it's gonna do what it like anyway.
Every week, when they have away games, I'm texting him releases that he hasn't used. That we've been working on.
Accountability right there. That's accountability.
I text about 6 or 7 releases like, hey, look at this one. Oh, we got to get this one. I want to see this one.
Yeah.
But like he told me when we're working on, he says, it's just a reaction. Like, we have all these movements, but just based on the leverage of the DB, if he slow pedals out or whatever he does, the body's just going to react to some type of movement that he already created with the muscle memory.
And you gotta love having like a personal coach, pretty much.
Right.
Somebody that's like dissecting every single move that you do, making sure that you're performing at the highest possible just ability that you can on Sundays.
No question.
So like
it's like having a caddy.
Right. Yeah. Making sure you're hitting the right shot, getting that putt going. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one great thing about Keenan is after every game, we'll talk and I'll text him or we'll call, and he takes coaching very well. Because he had come off the Pittsburgh game, he had 14 catches, 100-something yards receiving and a touchdown. And I'm like, hey, but you didn't do this. You got to press the shoulder of the DB here, and he was like, yeah, okay, yeah. And so he takes that, put it all in his memory bank for the next game. But it doesn't matter what type of game, great game he has, whether it's, game-winning catch, whatever, always have some coaching points because I want him to be the best, and that's what we strive for, and it comes back to the big rocks, little rocks, small hammer, just to the grind.
Right.
Being able to take that coaching and then fine-tune that craft, I mean, that's what makes Hall of Famers right there, so.
Yeah.
And that seems to be a big theme in any profession, right? If you want to be great, it's the little details. It's the little details and really perfecting those little details. And it's breaking big rocks with a small hammer. That's the quote.
Yep.
That's really what it is. Breaking big rocks with a small hammer until you got that whole rock,
Exactly.
So that's what's up.
Yeah. No, and this just goes back to sacrificing. I mean, there's a lot of.
Absolutely.
I mean, it can't just be, okay, I'm gonna train 5 days a week. Yeah. It has to be a 7-day a week. Yeah, you're gonna take some breaks in there, but you have to look at it as I have to work at it 7 days a week, because if I'm not, there's somebody else that is.
What's the goal of the big picture between you two?
We don't even talk about having goals about getting into the Pro Bowl or winning the Super Bowl or stuff like that. We're just talking about being the best that you can possibly be.
I think one of his sayings, even when we're working out, is we want to get 1% better each rep, and that goes every day. You want to get 1% better every day, and that's how we look at it. Each season, I want to be the best receiver. So I don't think we look at it as a big picture. We look at it as this picture.
Right, because if you take care of this picture, all the other stuff's going to naturally just take care of itself.
It's going to be beautiful.
Absolutely. Just take care.
Paint a masterpiece.
It's going to be a work of art. Absolutely.
You only can control the stuff that you can't control. We can't control him being, voted to the Pro Bowl or him being voted to the Hall of Fame or all those things. Just take care of the stuff you can take care of. Things that you have no control over, why worry about it? That's something that my father told me when I was a little boy, and now as a man, I really start to understand it, and it's helped me tremendously.
And that's so big though, because direction is the key for anybody, right? It's easy to want those. Everybody wants to accomplish those type of things, right? Those individual goals, but just having somebody to kind of even let you know, don't worry about that. Worry about the small things, and everything else will fall into place, and you will accomplish those things. I just think that's so big. You know what I mean? You need to have people like that around you in order to get to the level that you're at, right? It's to get to this level, it's you need to have the right people around with you, right? I saw a video before that game where you told the cameraman, I just turned the switch on. Mm-hmm. What does that mean, turning the switch on?
I'm lit. I mean, I just stepped into my bag.
Yeah.
The bag of tricks have now been lit up.
So can we turn the switch on right now? Can we turn the switch on?
Flip it.
Yeah, baby, let's go Chargers! Come on, let's get it! Hey, we're excited for the Super Bowl run right now too, man. Hey,
absolutely.
Good work so far, but there's more work to do, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Let's get it.
So we covered a lot. We learned what the Pro Bowler Keenan Allen's working on a day-to-day basis in the off season. But really, there's only one question left to ask.
Are you armed and dangerous?
That was really cool earlier, being able to go over to the Slayer's house, Keenan Allen, and you got to congratulate him on making the second Pro Bowl in a row.
Fresh off of making the Pro Bowl. Fresh off of it.
Yeah.
Just got the call, right? You got the call when we were headed over there.
As we were driving over there, his father called me, told me the news that he made his second straight Pro Bowl, and it was awesome to be able to go and congratulate him and just kind of share that moment with him.
What's the vision for Armed and Dangerous going on into the future?
Well, I think just continue to do what I'm doing. There's 50 states, and right now I'm only in about 14 of them. So just continue to focus on the details, continue to come up with creative ways to get them to understand exactly what I want them to do, and so they can go out and put their best foot forward and have a great youth football career, great high school career, great college career, and possibly a great professional career.
Really, one of the cool things about your teaching is that it applies to every single level. I just worked a camp with you recently, and you see the guys who, they might not be as elite as some guys, but by the end of the camp, they're getting technique down, they're understanding what you want, and you just see the improvement, and that's one of the coolest parts about it.
That's one thing I always want, have the guys improve for. So if we're out there for 3 hours, it doesn't matter where you start, it's all about where you finish, okay? And we talk about getting 1% better with every repetition. So just take the information, process it, and being able to do it is something that's important to myself and my staff.
Right, you always say learn by doing.
Learn by doing.
How do you plan on protecting your vision?
Well, I'm just going to continue to do what I'm doing. I've had a lot of athletes that worked underneath me that had success, and they're continuing to have success. So I feel like I have the blueprint to continue to give to the kids, and they're going to continue to, expand their careers from the youth to high school to college to the NFL. So I think my vision is protected.
Armed and Dangerous is established. It's been around for 14 years now. How did it get to this point right here, right now?
Well, it actually started almost of an accident. I was going into my last year of training for Germany. I was going into my 9th year. I was home training, and I was in the gym with my strength and conditioning coach. And also in there with me was a young high school quarterback named Derek Shaw, who was a sophomore going into his junior year. So it was important for me after I would get done working out that I would always go and throw, because as your muscles get bigger, they lose their muscle memory. So I always want to keep my technique nice and tight. So his grandfather, Dick Enright was his name, asked me, hey, could you show my grandson some of the stuff that you're doing? Because he's a quarterback as well. So for the next 3.5, 4 months, we did that. I flew back to Germany, played my last year. He played his junior year at Oceanside High School and ended up becoming the #1 high school quarterback in the country.
Wow.
So stayed in touch with Coach Enright, and he said, hey, I think you found your niche. This is something you need to be doing full time. My brother came up with the name Armed and Dangerous, and 14 years later, we're sitting here being interviewed by, Tim and Matt.
You're improving the game all over the world. Like, you're helping every team that has an athlete training with you. You're helping athletes overseas that you train overseas. That's it. Like, you're a true ambassador of football.
Like we talked about in the earlier piece, football is a global game, and my next stop is the Far East. I'm planning on doing camps in Japan and China and India, where football is just huge. So I'm trying to take my message of Armed and Dangerous, out to those countries and just continue to spread the message of football, because there's so many life lessons, not just about the game, but there's so many life lessons that you can learn in your daily life that I learned from football, just to help me become a better man, a better coach, a better father.
You actually have a son that plays at UTEP, and he broke the all-time record for pass deflections, right?
That is correct.
And he's gearing up for the combine right now, getting ready to go in the league.
Such a proud moment right now, proud father. Not only did he, do everything he needed to do on the field to allow him to have an opportunity to get drafted, but he just graduated, with his college degree, 5 years, in El Paso. Even though that's a rival of New Mexico State, I still had to wear the orange and blue and throw up my pickaxe and cheer for him every Saturday. But it's just been an unbelievable thing to see him grow as a young man, as a football player, to see now he's so close to his dream, and he's going through that process of having an opportunity to play on Sundays.
And I think that's so cool that he has such a supportive father. I mean, you flew to every single game. You went to every single one of his games.
Yes.
How does that make him feel, the fact that, he has his dad in the stands for every single one of his games?
Yeah, I mean, he was always excited to see, myself and his mother. His mom did the same thing, We sacrificed, every weekend. I sacrificed being able to train, quarterbacks and receivers on the weekends, which is, my busiest time during the year. But there's no sacrifice big enough to go and see your kid play, every week and be there for him, whether they won or lost, and have him look up in the stands or come over and just be able to talk to you and say, hey, thank you for coming, even though it could have been in Tennessee or it could have been in Western Kentucky or even in El Paso. It was an unbelievable feeling just to see him smile and give him a hug and tell him I'm proud of him and just tell him, hey, continue to work.
Do you see yourself ever coaching in the NFL?
I would never say no. I really love what I do because I'm able to touch a lot of people around the country and not just a few on one team. So I would never say never, but I would love that challenge to be able to work with a quarterback or receiver, quarterbacks or receivers on a team and see if I could take them to the highest level, which is winning the Super Bowl. I would love that challenge. So I'm never going to say never, and I'm going to work towards that goal of possibly doing that in the future.
I mean, you live and breathe football.
Yes.
It's football every day, and you love it though. I can tell just how passionate you are about the game, how passionate you are about teaching players.
Yeah.
So I don't see why there's any reason why you wouldn't be a coach on an NFL team.
Yeah, the thing is that when you're doing something you love, they say, it's not work. Right. So I work 7 days a week, or my passion is 7 days a week. And the one thing about Armed and Dangerous, it doesn't matter if I'm training NFL quarterbacks or receivers or youth quarterbacks or receivers. It's the same program. I don't teach those guys one way and teach the young guys another way. It's the same formula, and it's all about fundamentals, and that's what Armed and Dangerous is built off of.
I'm just doing what I gotta do.